And another speaker, Dr. Amit Kumar Nandawadekar. He is presently working as Deputy Manager in Venkateswara Hatcheries Food Division at in Karnataka, Devangere, Karnataka, and he will deliver his topic on regulatory aspects of food processing in India with special reference to poultry processing. So now I request Dr. Jhende sir to give brief introduction about our today's first speaker. Jhende sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vidya. Good morning to everyone. So today I have pleasure to introduce today's two speakers. First one is Dr. Mani Chatli, and another was Dr. Jasbir Singh, feeling well. His lecture is scheduled on the 24th, that is on day 7, with the place of Dr. Amit Kumar. Amit Kumar is going with the second talk. So I have pleasure to introduce my Dr. Manish Kumar Chatli. He is a dean presently at the College of Veterinary College. Hello. Anybody speaking? Kindly unmute yourself. Mute yourself. Okay, thank you. So Dr. Manish Chatli is Dean at the College of Veterinary Science, Rampure Full, Guru Angad Dev Veterinary and Animal Science University, Ludhiana. He has completed his graduation from the CCS Haryana Agriculture University and subsequently completed his master's degree there in the subject of animal product technology. And thereafter, he has completed his PhD from IVRI, Izzatnagar. Sir has joined as assistant professor in Department of LPT at the CSK Palampur, and thereafter he has selected as associate professor in LPT at Gadwasu. He was promoted to the professor position in 2009 and the head of the department in 2012. He has served the head of the department of LPT for more than 8 years and the HOD of LPM for this period of 6 months. He has successfully handled so far 27 research projects from the different funding agencies like DST, DBT, Minister of Food Processing Industries, ICR, RKFI, NLM, that is National Livestock Mission, etc. He has guided 11 master's students and 5 PhD students, and his 15 PhD students, they have received the international grants for attending programs at abroad. He has transferred about 19 technologies to the entrepreneurs in the industry for its adaptation, and he has established poultry processing unit as a revenue generation model under the public-private partnership mode in the Gadwasu, Ludhiana. He has attended 8 advanced training and international seminar workshop in the USA, Republic of South Korea, Belgium, etc. He has successfully organized 51 training programs, 10 workshops, symposiums, including international conference and workshop, ICR mentor courses, entrepreneurship development programs, model training courses, industry academia, farmers, interface, etc. He has published so far 160 research publications in the journals of the national and international repute, then 2 patents at his credit, 8 books, 20 book chapters, and 40 manuals and compendium. So we have a very, the person who is likely involved in the uh, meat industry and the technologies, various technologies for the also developed for the meat science people and actually the industries like slaughterhouses, dairy plant, fish processing plant. So we have the right person today to deliver the talk on the different methods of the studying and its impact on the meat quality. Okay, so I invite Dr. Manish Chatli to uh, deliver his talk on the different methods for studying and its impact on the meat quality. So, Dr. Manish Chatli, please.
Thank you, Dr. Jende. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
You are audible, sir.
I'm unable to. My video is not able to start. I don't know. So, but my presentation is being visible.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So I can start without video even. So first of all, at the outset, I want to thank Dr. Jende and all the organizing committee members who has invited me to discuss regarding the stunning methods and its effect on the meat quality in this training program. Thank you very much, Dr. Jende, and good morning to the all participants. So it's a very important topic that how the stunning is basically being a very important in a slaughterhouses, especially where we are being concerned about the animal welfare aspects. India is being one of the leading meat producers. We are being slaughtering almost 173 million animals annually. That includes the buffaloes, cattle, sheep, goat, pigs, as well as the poultry also. Poultry is being around 281 crore poultries are being slaughtered annually. Such a huge number is being slaughtered annually. And if you see the world over, so almost 9,760 million livestock were being slaughtered in 2020 throughout the world. So such a huge number is being slaughtered. Animals are being slaughtered, and if we see how these animals are being slaughtered, the infrastructure being available in India is being, we have an around 4,500 registered slaughterhouses under the local bodies, municipal corporations, committees. Then there are a lot many unauthorized slaughter places are also being there. That includes the meat shops and others, even the roadside dhabas and so many things are being there. However, there are the buffalo meat as well as the sheep and goat meat is being exported. So we have an 80 APIDA approved abattoirs are also being there, and lot many are being added with respect to the poultry processing plants and others also. And we are being producing around 8.6 million tons of the meat, and it's been growing almost a 6% growth rate is being received. And we have, especially in the COVID era as well as in the earlier also, we have seen that the people now are being shifting from the unhygienic practices being followed in the meat industry to the going for an clean, hygienic, and taking care about the animal welfare aspects also. They are being giving due weightage to that. So lot of changes are being coming up in the COVID era. We have seen that the poultry which is being available on the roadsides and others, and the people usually go over there and select the bird, and thereafter it's being slaughtered before their eyes. That things are being reducing. Now people are being preferring the properly hygienically packaged poultry meat. So that led to the increase in the number of the poultry processing plants also. It's been growing. But still, as I mentioned you, that such a big number is being slaughtered. But we have to look into the matter whether everything is being contributing toward the animal welfare and the humane slaughter is being taken care or not? That's one of the biggest question. It's $1 billion question that all these slaughter processing are being carrying out throughout the world, not only India, throughout the world, taking care regarding the animal welfare aspect. And when I gone through, there is lot many news items are being available which are telling that still the animal welfare aspect, even in the European countries or what we think about the world over, they are still being lacking the humane slaughter. Humane slaughter means
Dr.
the
Chakis,
painless slaughter,
Dr. Chakis,
taking
sir,
care about the
sorry to,
all the animal welfare aspects, and lot of news are being available. But in this, there are the many
hello,
factors are being influenced.
Dr. Sir,
Yes, yes, sir. Slides
hello,
are moving.
Dr. Chakis, sir, sorry to interrupt you. The slides are not moving.
Okay, sorry.
Hello.
Hello, now it's
Okay.
moving,
No,
showing.
sir, slides are not moving. No, no, no. That
Should
is
I?
only one slide.
Now
One
it's
slide
moving,
is
sir.
on the screen. Yeah, yeah. Now it's moving. You can do one or two slides up and down.
Okay, like this. Now other one.
No,
No,
second
no, no,
slide.
no, no. No.
No, second slide.
Is this one is moving? This one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
moving. Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Now
So
it's
I
moving.
will not go into the presentation mode. I will move like that so that it will be visible to all. I
ठीक है,
think
ठीक है.
so.
No issue, no
So
issue.
basically, I was being discussing that almost 173 million animals are being slaughtered in India annually, and around 2,810 million poultry birds are being slaughtered. So whereas in the world over, it's in around 9,760 million animals were being slaughtered. But now it is being seen. Second slide is seen.
Sir.
It's okay, na?
Okay, sir.
So
Sir,
all
yes.
these animals are being slaughtered in India in a huge infrastructure being available. But out of these huge infrastructure, there is a very few slaughterhouses or the components are being there, which are being basically being following all the norms or the regulations being laid down by the different agencies. Amongst them, the most important part is the APIDA approved abattoirs. That's around 80 abattoirs, 80 slaughterhouses are there, which are basically being exporting the buffalo meat and others to the world over, almost 57 countries. They are following all the guidelines. Whereas the lot many unauthorized slaughter places are being available where it's not being properly being followed. So lot of things are being happening on the meat industry front where the regulations are not being followed. So as I mentioned you that not only in India, it's being world over. The almost 9,760 million animals are being slaughtered, where all are being going under the kill, uh, taking care of all the animal welfare aspects, and these slaughters are being the human slaughter. That's one of the biggest question. It's $1 billion questions. While looking into those matters, when I gone through the different newspapers cuttings and others, I found that it's really being a shocking situation throughout the world, not only in India, even the world over. The humane slaughter or the so-called the we should painless slaughter is being still being lacking in many of the developed nations also. However, there is a green light is also being coming up recently in 2021 in June month. There was an animal welfare award was being given that they have started the stunning devices for even the shrimp. So that's also been happening. So the it's going the simultaneously both the aspects are being going on where the without slot stunning, without taking care of the animal welfare aspect, as well as there are the many institutions, many slaughterhouses are being there which are being slaughtering the animals with a proper animal welfare aspects. So the stunning is being considered as a one of the tool to go for the humane slaughter. Humane slaughter means that the slaughter without any fear, anxiety, pain, suffering, distress to the animal. The stunning has been approved under the Slaughterhouse Act 1972 774 Part 2 in Indian conditions. And it's basically making the animal insensible or unconscious to pain prior to slaughtering or sticking, so that the animals not only become unconscious, so they should not feel any pain, plus they are unable to view the process of slaughtering and others. That's also being taken care. All this promotes the animal welfare aspects, and the quality is also being improved because of the better bleeding, and removal of the skin is being easier, and the quality of, with respect to the pH and that's also being improved. So basically, objective is to induce the immediate state of insensibility, and the operator safety is also being taken care, and the sticking process become easier. So then the shackling of the animals after becomes an easier, and it promotes the bleeding process. So stunning has a multiple objectives and multiple benefits. How the stunning is being carried out, the different methods are being used. The broadly we can divide the methods into the three categories. One is the mechanical methods, gaseous or the chemical methods, and the electrical methods. Mechanical methods include the percussion stunning, that can be penetrative or non-penetrative or concussion one. So the selection of the method of the stunning, it depends upon the many factors. Which species you are going to slaughter, whether it is a large ruminants, small ruminants, sheep and goat, or the pigs are being there, or the poultry birds, or any other. That's also being a one of the important factor while selecting the stunning method. Then what is the speed of the line speed is being there, whether you are being going for a batch method or the booth slaughtering operations, or maybe the line dressing systems, and then further what is the speed of the line dressing systems. That's also being one of the most important or key factors while selecting the stunning processes. Then efficiency of the equipments, humane aspect is always being there. Then the investment, the capital and maintenance, ease of operations, safety of the personals, effect on the carcass and the brain. If you want to utilize the brain as an edible purposes or the pharmaceutical purposes, that's also being an issue. Then religious and the legal requirements, it's being also being one of the most important part of the stunning. If we go to the first percussion stunnings, it, as I mentioned you, that it can be a penetrative or non-penetrative. Non-penetrative is basically a mushroom head stunner is being used. In case of the captive bolt pistol stunning, there are the two types with the help of a trigger or a contact type, with in which the propeller, the bolt for goes inside and discharge the blank cartridge and recoils back. So the different forms in the photograph you can see there the different types of the captive bolt pistols are being available on a which can be placed on the head of the animal, and accordingly they can go for that. For penetrative, it all depends upon the strength of the cartridge, with which speed the cartridges are being moving up. So there are the different strengths for the different species because it depends upon the thickness of the frontal bone. If the frontal bone is more thick, more harder, naturally we require more energy, more hardly it should hit. For that purpose, the strength of the cartridge is an important one. So it measures in the grain. So large cattle, it and the mature bulls is 3 to 4 grains. In the lambs, 1 grain, and mostly it is being used in case of the cattle and sheep and calves. Also, it's being less effective in case of the bulls and the pigs because in those cases there is a skull is being very heavy and thick frontal bone is there. So you require the high grain for the cartridge. The mechanism of action for these purposes is that it lead to the destruction of the cortex as well as the deeper parts of the brain. Thalamus and the cortex both are being destroyed. It goes inside. So when it also lead to the change in the intracranial pressure, so this lead to the insensibility is being occurring, and when the sudden jerk due to the energy bolt, it also lead to the accelerated concussion, which results in the depolarization of the neurons in the brain, that's including the cortex. So all these lead to the insensibility to the animal become unconscious. However, again, the most important part remains over the velocity of the bolt, speed with which it strikes. Because speed with which strikes, that basically tells us about the change in the intracranial pressures, and it goes inside the brain or destroys its the abdominal, the cortex and the thalamus. That becomes the most important part for the effective stunning process. So velocity of the which is being required for the different species, that's also being a variable. So it varies from 55 meter per second to around 75 meter per second depending upon the species. The disadvantage of captive bolt pistol stunning is that there's a lot of noise is being produced. You require the regular maintenance. It cannot be used when the higher line speed is being there, around 240 to 250 animals are being slaughtered there. Naturally, it cannot be utilized. It's a totally manual process. And the most important part is that there is a destruction of the brain, and brain cannot be utilized either for the edible purposes or the pharmaceutical purposes. So pneumatic stunners are also being used, in which the bolt is get activated under pressure of around 80 to 120 psi. Apart from this captive bolt pistol, the water jet stunning system is also being used to stun. That's being the diameter of 0.5 mm jet at a high pressure of 3500 to 4000 bars is being used. It drills through the skin and skull, uh, and naturally it breaks down the frontal bone, and then naturally the change in the intracranial pressure and the destruction of the brain takes place. So that lead to the immediate unconsciousness. It causes the convulsions also because of the destruction of the brain, and it prevent the immobilization current of 250 milliampere and 40 volt. And the even it can also be used in case of the along with the carbon dioxide or electrical stunning also. So partially it can be utilized along with them also. Then non-penetrative or percussion stunner. This is basically used in case of the small ruminants or the calves. It's basically a stunner with a mushroom head. In this, it's depend upon the individual strength, the strength of the personnel who's being acting as a stunner. So it's a non-penetrative. It's a no doubt penetrative stunners are also being there, but it's a non-penetrative percussion stunner which is a mushroom shaped and hits on the head, and around it gives an unconsciousness to the cattle around 60 seconds, sheep got 15 seconds depending upon that. And it's being commonly the most important plus point of this system is that the brain can be utilized for edible as well as the pharmaceutical purposes, and it provides the immediate insensibility which lasts for around 30 seconds, and within 30 seconds we have to go for the sticking. The animal is being stepped for the bleeding purposes. The sticking is being carried out by severance of the jugular arteries and the veins over there. Then the typical signs in the percussion stunning is that there is an immediate collapse of the animals by the tonic sparks.
Hello, Dr.
Yes,
Chetli,
sir.
sir.
Hanji.
Once again, it is not moving. It is on the only velocity of different species for captive bolt. It is on that slide only. Next, I think to another more slide. You have to go ahead.
Okay, sir.
Sorry for interrupt, sir. We are seeing, sir, all slides. I had seen, sir, all slides. Running is there. Slides are running is there, sir.
Yeah, they're moving.
Yes, sir. Moving, sir.
We can't is moving.
See?
So you are able
Okay.
to see the
Here,
this is signs in the
yeah.
percussion stunning.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So there is an immediate collapse of the animal by the tonic spasm, and the tonic spasms that last for around 10 to 15 seconds. And there is a slow clonic movement of the hind legs, and eventually vigorous hind leg movements may occur, and ceasing the rhythmic breathing. Eyeballs should face outwards with a fixed gaze and not to be rotated inwards. So these are the typical signs that your stunning is being perfect. Percussion stunning is being perfect. So the most important part for going for the percussion stunning is that the position on the head where you are being hitting up with the help of a captive ball, free bullet pistol, or the percussion, or the hammer stunners and others. So that's being the most important part. In case of the adult cattle, it is the middle of the forehead. You run from the middle of the canthus to the horns. The line is being over there, and where these lines they met on a center. At that point, if we hit, so naturally the results are the best results we achieve, and immediately it is being done. So whereas in case of the bulls and the old cows, the old animals of more than 12-year age, or then we have to put up the 1.5 centimeter to the side of the ridge, running down the center to of forehead. In case of the calves, slightly down on the head than the adult cattle. So these are the positions being forecast of the buffaloes and the cattle. Whereas in case of sheep and goat, there are the two categories are being there: hornless and the horned. Hornless sheep and goat, top of the head aimed towards the esophagus or the gullet. Whereas in case of the horned sheep and goat, it should be placed behind the ridge, running between the horns. So these are being shown over here, the proper angles and others, which basically destroys the brain and others there. Then in case of the pigs, it's being a 2.5 centimeter above the level of the eyes and fired upward towards the cranial cavity, the angle towards the cranial cavity. So it's being in case of the pigs. So if you are being putting upon a right position and using the right strength with a proper velocity, then will be the perfect stunning will be there. Animal will be stunned, and and then immediately you can go for the sticking. The gap between the stunning and the sticking process should be minimized, as it should be less than 30 seconds. Then other mechanical stunning methods which are commonly being used are the puntilla methods. Puntilla methods is basically a sharp pointed knife. Puntilla is being introduced at the junction of the atlas and occipital bone to sever the medulla oblongata, which makes the animal unconscious. The animal fall to the ground immediately, and activity of the heart and lung is being reduced. However, these procedures require expertise. Otherwise, the animal will get excited and sustain unnecessary pain. Percussion with the hammer is also being done in this case of use of pole, axe, club, or maul to smash the roof of the skull of the animal to produce unconsciousness. It requires skill and expertise. Efficiency of this method varies. It depends upon the strength of the blow, weight of the instrument being used, and correct spotting of the blow. So these are being utilized only when there is a slaughter rate is being very low. You are being slaughtering one or two animals or the less than 10 animals. Then these methods can be utilized. Then the pithing. All in the initial methods, what I mentioned you, that they are basically being destroying the central nervous system, whereas still the peripheral nervous system is being working. So with the help of the pithing, we can destroy the peripheral nervous system. For pithing purposes, we insert the long thin rod, and closely coiled wire can also be used into the hole made by the penetrating bolt of the pistol, and then it goes inside and destroys all the peripheral nervous systems. So penetration of the rod basically destroys the motor centers of the brain, so that the reflex muscular action does not occur during the sticking process. It avoids the injury to the operators and speed the carcass dressing process also. But the precaution should be taken that the pithing rod should not be longer than 0.6 meter. Otherwise, if it is being longer than that, then the spinal cord roots, especially the greater splanchnic nerves, which are the basically important for the vasoconstriction of the abdominal cavity, they get destroyed, and there the resultant vasodilatation takes place, and the splanchnic blood vessels, they cause congestion of the liver, kidney, intestines, and then there is a enlargement of the spleen also occur. So we call it as a slaughter spleen condition. So while going for a pithing, no doubt it improves the carcass dressing processes and others, but the due precaution should be taken for the best utilization of your edible organs. Then next stunning method is the gaseous or the chemical stunning method. It is being the most commonly being used using the carbon dioxide gas. Some places the argon gas is also being used, but the preference is being given the carbon dioxide gas because the carbon dioxide gas is a cheaper one, it's an economical. Secondly, the with the presence of the carbon dioxide gas, the breathing rate is increased, heart rate is being increased, so the bleeding is being better, and it also changes the pH of the meat system also. Moreover, the it's not a inflammable, so for that purpose the carbon dioxide gas, more of it is being a lighter. So if there is any release or other is being there, then immediately it can be smelled up. So to it's always because of these reasons the carbon dioxide gas is being preferred over and above the other gases, and the period of exposure is being given around 45 seconds. The recovery time is 90 seconds, so animal become again conscious within 90 seconds, around 1.5 minutes. So the bleeding should be done within that period itself. So the sticking should be done within 30 seconds after the stunning is being over. If the point of concern is that the concentration of the gases, if there is a high concentration is there, then the stiffness of the carcass takes place and the reflex muscular activity is there, bleeding becomes poor. So the concentration should be proper way. Low concentration, if the concentration is being low, then the stunning will not be proper. And if there is a longer exposure time than the 45 seconds, that then there is a superficial congestion of the skin also takes place. Then especially as the gaseous stunning is being more commonly being carried out in case of the poultry and the pigs. So if the superficial in these both the cases, the skin is being edible, so it is being presented along with the carcasses. So if there is superficial congestion of the skin, it takes place, the price of the carcass will be reduced. So we have to check all these factors while going for a chemical stunning. Then it can be done by the different methods, that's a oval tunnel methods, dip lift method, or maybe the compact carbon dioxide immobilizers or Ferris wheel. These different types. In oval tunnel method, it's very simple as the name suggests you, and in this the speed can be very high. You can use even up to 600 peaks per hour. It's a line, there's a tunnel is being framed, and from one end the animal will enter, and in the animal will remain in the tunnel for a defined exposure time, and then the stunned animals will be collected from the other end, and then it is being shackled and immediately sticking is being carried out. So in the wherever the high speed is being carried out, in those cases this gaseous stunning chambers or the oval tunnels are being made. But the point of concern is there in case of the gaseous stunning is the pricing, the capital investments. We have to go for the capital investments that's being there. Moreover, second issue is that the heavier, very heavy pigs cannot, or the large animals cannot be handled over there in this case, because especially in case of the large animals, or maybe in the sheep goat also, where the wool is being high and others, so the high concentration of the carbon dioxide is being required, so exposure time is also being more is being required, so it's not being not commonly being used. in case of the large animals, large ruminants, as well as in case of the sheep and goat.
Hello?
Then dip lift method,
Hello?
as the name suggests you, in this, even the heavier pigs can be used. Sheep and cows are also being used, but generally
Yeah.
it's very less.
Clear ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ? Old line.
We can, in this case, the cage is being there, and the cage, the size of the cage depends upon the species which are going for a stunning process, whether it is being a pigs, sheep, or cows and others. This, the carbon dioxide is being in the pit, and the cage goes inside the pit for a set time period, and when the time period exposure time is being over, it again the lift comes up, and then the stunned animals, they are basically being shackled, and the further processing, it goes to the dressing line and everything. But this is being suitable for the small meal plants where the slaughter rate is being low, in the range of around 20 to 50 animals per hour, like that. Then the Ferris wheel system is being there. It is more or less like in a lift only. So in this case, like half of the wheel is basically being dipped into the chamber, and then it comes out within a stunned one. In this, we can go for very high speed, even up to 300 pigs per hour, and it directly goes on moving. So it's a Ferris wheel system is being also being used in many of the countries. Especially, I have seen these type of the Ferris wheels in North America and others, where the speed is being very high for the pigs. The advantages of the gaseous stunning is that the carcasses are being relaxed, so dehairing process or the dressing process is being easier. It's a noiseless. As I mentioned in the captive bolt pistol system and others, the noise is the major issue. Whereas in this, it's a noiseless. Labor requirement is being also being lesser. The bleeding is being better because the carbon dioxide stimulates the respiration. So better circulation, better bleeding is being there. In case of the electrical stunning and others, there is a bone fractures or other conditions may occur, whereas in this case it is being reduced. The plain soft exudative meat condition is also being reduced greatly. But the point of concern in case of this, the capital investment. For putting up of a gas chambers, you require a capital investments. More space is being required, and for a small plants, it's not commonly being recommended. The signs of the carbon dioxide stunning, whether it's being perfect or not, that can be judged on the basis of the period of increased respiratory rate.
சார் இன்னொரு பாட்டில் குடிச்சுக்கோங்க. நீங்களே வச்சிருங்க அந்த பாட்டில். எக்ஸஸ்னா ஒரு இருக்கிற ஒரு பாட்டில் தான் சார் வச்சிருக்கேன்.
Please mute your mic. Don't talk in between.
Coronial and palpebral reflexes are being absent. Extreme muscle flaccidity. Limbs and the jaws were being consequently relaxed. Most reliable sign of loss of sensibility is the absence of the respiratory activity. Gagging respiratory movement is the sign of the immediate brain death is being there. So these are the typical signs of the complete carbon dioxide stunning is being there. Then the electrical stunning. In this case, in the electrical stunning, electrical current is being passed through the brain using the electrodes, which are being placed on either side of the head like a tongue. And the mechanism of action is being that it causes the massive depolarization of the neurons of the brain, which results in an epileptiform seizures. If the tongues or the electrodes are not being positioned properly, we can lead to the missed shock also. So in those cases, the animals get paralyzed but still remain conscious. So there is a incoordination of the cerebral nerve cells are being there, and there is a confusion state of the brain. So the electrical stunning, no doubt it's being applied in almost all the species nowadays, but still it is being more popular in case of the pigs and the poultry. It's being used in sheep and goat also. While what are the criteria for the selection of the genuine stun is that the how much electrical current is being required. The animal should remain insensible till bleeding. That's the most important. The animal should be killed outrightly by cardiac arrest. So for that purpose, we give in a high voltage or the low voltage. High voltage may lead to the twitching of the muscles and the broken bones are being there. Muscle hemorrhages also being occur. If his current is too low, then the animals get paralyzed but still being unconscious. So the sufficient application time is being required to induce the genuine electropletic shock. Minimum application time should be 7 seconds for the low voltage if the voltage level is being less than 150 volt, or 3 seconds for the high voltage which is being higher than the 300 volt. Then the correct positioning of the electrode should be being ensured so that the current passes through thalamus and the cortex, making the animal unconscious. And it is being, the care should be taken that the electrical resistance should be minimal. So for that purpose, the skin of the head should be kept clean and dry. Electrodes should be immersed in the brine solution. The pig head or the animal head should not be wet. It should be discouraged, because in those cases it allows the current passing through the surface rather than the brain. No doubt, in case of the poultry, we go for the dip system also, in which the head touches the electrified water. But if we are being doing with the help of the electrode, then the wetting of the pig should be discouraged. Commonly, it is not being practiced in the cattle because of the insulation effect of the fine hairs on the head. Passage of the electrical current can be facilitated if the calorie intake of the animal is being reduced. Animal should not be fed before the slaughtering or the stunning process. Then the state of the hydration is being increased. They are being given ad lib water, which is being very commonly being carried out in case of the lairage. So the efficiency of the electrical stunning is not only dependent upon the voltage or the ampere, it is also being dependent upon the energy supplied to the animals. The positioning of the electrode is, as I mentioned you, it is being very important. If there are the different types or the different systems in which electrodes are being positioned, one is that only on the head. Basically, it leads to the destruction of the central nervous system. Electrodes are being clamped around the side of the head like the earmuffs, and we should bled the animal the maximum in 30 seconds. Otherwise, the animal again become conscious. Other option is that on a head and the brisket system, in this high voltage around 550 volt is being required, and the electrodes are being placed between nose and the neck for 3 seconds to stun the animals. The additional current between the neck and the brisket to produce the cardiac arrest is being given. Then third positioning of the electrode is being the head to back or the leg stunning. It is being very commonly being employed in case of the sheep and goat also, and the pigs. So in this high voltage stunning is being cut with the help of a special tongs, which basically being current passes through both head and the back. Means in this care, the central nervous system as well as the peripheral nervous system both are being taken care by this head to back or leg stunning systems. Brain is get anesthetized, heart is being put to the rest, and its supply chain to the brain is being reduced. So the sudden death occur before the anesthetic ends. So pigs, the generally 1.3 ampere and the 250 volt is being used. In case of the lambs, 0.1 ampere to the 375 volt is being there. However, if the voltage is being higher, then the pelt burn is also occurs. So the voltage or as well as the ampere level should be properly being maintained. Then what are signs of the effective stun? So this lead to the immediate collapse of the animal with a flexion, followed by the extension of the limbs. Limbs get extended. There is an opisthotonous condition occurs, in which they see basically the arcing of the back. There is the extended forelegs as well as the extended back legs. Arcing of the back takes place, just like in case of the tetanus condition. So there is a downward rolling of the eyeballs. There's a tonic muscular spasm changing to the clonic spasm. Muscular flaccidity occurs. So all these signs, they are basically being called the electropletic pit. So in case of lacticus stunning, in case of poultry, it also depends upon the several methods are being used. In case of the poultry, that's depend upon the bar method or the water trough method. It all depends upon the line speed. In the hand stunning devices are also been coming up, in which we can place the electrode can be placed directly on the head. In these cases, the birds weighing more than 2 kg or the turkeys which are heavy turkeys, this system is being used. But in this case, the rate of kill is being very low, around 1000 birds per hour maximum. Then the automatic stunning devices are also being coming up, in which high voltage, around 400 to 1000 volt is being used. It's being carried in the grid over which shackled birds are being conveyed. The hanging birds, their head touches to the bar and they are get choked. Then disadvantage of this system is that there is severe muscle contraction takes place. Fracture occurs. Bleeding is not being perfect. Risk to the implies are also being there. So low voltage 50 to 60 volt, 50 to 60 hertz contact period of 5 seconds is being preferable one. That lead to the satisfactory narcosis with no pain or stress, and birds removed from the line and then bled recovered within 2 to 3 minutes. So around 90 seconds to 180 second is being there, in which that the birds can be bled out. Then the water bath stunning system, it is a very commonly being used in case of the poultry processing plants. So in this electrically charged water bath, in which the heads of the birds are being dragged down, and they, because the electrode is being merged into the water bath, and the shackled birds, they touches the water, and which leads to the electrical current passes through the body of the birds and they get stunned. In this case, the current is being used in the range of around 100 milliampere to around 150 milliampere, depending upon the weight of the bird, age of the bird, and type of the bird, whether it is being chicken, duck, turkey, broiler, or layer birds. Accordingly, the time temperature combination is being changed. The typical signs of the electrically stunned birds are being the head is being arched back, eyes are being widely open, legs are rigidly extended, body shows that repeated muscle tremors are being coming up, wings with the flight feathers, they spread, tail feathers are being turned up, corneal reflexes are being absent. Then, so these are the typical signs which tell us that the stunning is being is a perfect one, is a proper way. Then in case of the poultry, the gaseous stunning is also being carried out with a combination of the carbon dioxide and the argon gas. Also carbon dioxide with the oxygen plus nitrogen also is being used. And so the different combinations are being used. So hang the bird. Then this in this case, within 3 minutes, to minimize that, the red wing tips are being there cut. Wing vein engorgement occurs if the sticking is not being carried out in a within time. Wing vein hemorrhages may occur, shoulder hemorrhages may occur, red feather track is being there. However, the advantages of the gaseous stunning is that the broken bones are being very less, because the muscle twitching and other these type of problems which are being occurring in the electrical stunning, that can be minimized. That's being almost being zero. No breast muscle hemorrhages are there. However, the gaseous stunning, they basically accelerate the postmortem pH also. So the aging process is being faster. The pH falls fast, in case of the poultry. Then other aspect is there that we can go the slaughtering without stunning if it is being carried out. You are not following any other method which I have mentioned earlier. You are being going without stunning. So animal welfare aspect is always being there. Apart from that, there is a major problem of the restaining of the animals. It has also been observed then of cutting. There are the people usually say if we use the sharp knife without any ridges and everything, sharp knife is being used, then the pain to the animal is being minimum. But on that aspect, there is a lot of research has been carried out, and the EEG is being conducted by the Lambos et al. In 2012, and they told that even the cut is being given by the sharp knife, it is still being painful to the conscious animals. And if blood clotting occurs during the bleeding process, then the animal takes longer time to become unconscious, and the chances of the aspiration of the blood in the trachea and the lungs is being more, and it lead to the more pain, because uh, that the blood flows into the glottis and the enter trachea and alveoli, and as there is a severance of the recurrent laryngeal nerves and the vagus nerves are there, so no response of coughing to extract out the blood from the trachea and the lungs is being there, so it becomes more painful to the animals. So the slaughtering without stunning is not at all being recommended by any means if you want to go take care about the animal welfare aspect. Then next important issue is that the stunning and the meat quality. This law, as I was being mentioning you along with that different stunning methods, the meat quality is also been, because if you are being going for a stunning, the most important point of concern is that the bleeding is being proper. If the bleeding is being proper, the bleeding is being improved, naturally the quality of the meat will be improved. However, if there is undue delay is there in the stunning and the stick interval, so or maybe in case of the inadequate penetration of the bolt is being there, then blood splashing in the muscles, diaphragm, abdominal wall, intercostal muscles of the heart takes place. It occurs basically due to the increase in the arterial blood pressure. There is a highest rate in the head, only electrical stunning is being there. Low incidence of head to back leg electrical stunning. When head to back leg electrical stunning is being carried out, in those cases, the hemorrhages and others, this problem is being comparatively being lesser. So incidence can be reduced by the adoption of the short stun stick interval. While you stun, and within 30 seconds, you should go for the sticking of the animals. In the captive bow stunning, when it is being carried out in case of the pigs, as the frontal bone of the pig is being very thick, there is a lot of convulsions occurs that lead to the promote the faster muscle acidification and may result in the pale, soft, exudative meat. Similarly, very prolonged application of the electrical stunning currents that also lead to the faster acidification, and it may result in the PSC condition. So the stunning in a proper manner and the shorter stun stick interval can help us to have a better meat quality. Other one is that then the high voltage electrical stunning is being used in these cases, especially in case of when there is a position of the electrode is on the head only, there is a particular hemorrhages throughout the loin region occurs. Then where it is being placed, the electrodes are being placed head to back or the leg, then there is a particular hemorrhages occurs in case of the connective tissue and the fat. It's being sometimes it is being confused with some of the pathological lesions also, but it is only because of the improper stunning. And Fracture of the bones also occurs when the high voltage electrical stunning is occur because of the tonic convulsions. Violent muscle contractions are being there. So fractures in case of scapula, neck of femur, pelvis, or even the fifth or sixth thoracic vertebrae takes place. So all these electrical stunning may lead to so that your cut up parts or the recognition of the cut up parts, they become affected. And the naturally, if there is a bone fractures are being there, the presentation of the carcass is being reduced, the value of the carcass is being reduced. That's being the important one. So the properly the voltage, ampere, as well as the exposure time is being very important in case of the electrical stunning. However, the carbon dioxide stunning, as I've already mentioned you, that's being always being a preferred one, and it has an innate advantages that it does not exhibit clonic convulsions, fast stunning, safer to handle by the operators, and the lower chances of the PSC and the blood splash while using the carbon dioxide stunning. Overall quality of the meat is also being superior because carbon dioxide is being considered as a antibacterial also. So the meat quality with respect to the shelf life and others also being improved. And it has been seen that the pigs carrying the halothane gene, rhinoid receptors, they are being more sensitive to the carbon dioxide. So it's a genotype of the pigs that's also being important because this type of the genes are being more, halothane sensitivity genes are being more present in case of the landrace and others. So poultry which are being killed through the anoxia, they lead to the increased rate of the pH fall in the breast muscles. So which enables the carcass to held in a short time post-mortem before partitioning or filleting. So without the danger of the muscle shortening. So the comparatively, if the stunning is being carried out by the carbon dioxide using the carbon dioxide gas, that is being better than the other methods, but it's a costlier methods. The many of the scientists, they have published the effect of the different stunning systems on the meat quality, and they have compared the electrical stunning and the gaseous stunning along with the unstunned animals also, and they have found that the especially in case of the lamb, up to 24 hours post-mortem, there is no difference in the pH, color coordinates, water holding capacities, cooking losses, shear force, drip loss, all these conditions, there is no differentiation is being there in the unstuns and others, the people usually say. But thereafter, when the carcass are being kept for the aging process for the conversion of muscle into meat, then it has been found that the stunned animals after at 7 days post-mortem when it is being measured, they have a lower pH is being there. Cooking losses are being also being lower in case of the stunned animals than the unstunned animals. The aging process is being faster, so the shear force value is also being affected, is being changed than the gaseous stunning. Gaseous stunned animals, they have a lower redness and the yellowness in comparison to the other one, because in this case the better bleeding is being there, the redness process and others also being reduced, especially then there's another studies being there in which they have compared with the electrical stunning with the unstunned animals, and the study was being carried out in case of Spanish lambs up to 2 weeks post-mortem, and they have found that there is initially there is no change is being there. How up to 24 hours the values of the pH, color, water holding capacity and the shear force remains the same if we are being maintaining the temperature which is being a less than 10 degrees centigrade temperature. Thereafter, electrical stunning, it's expedite the aging process because of the glycogen reserves are being depleted faster during the electrical stunning process, and thereafter after 24 hours the pH decrease becomes faster. However, if we see the generalized stunning did not have any effect on the water holding capacity, shear force value, and the color parameters, especially the electrical stunning, if you are being done in a proper manner. Then another stunning is method of gas stunning with the carbon dioxide gas. The study was being conducted and they have compared the effect of the gaseous stunning using the carbon dioxide, guys, on the meat color, lipid peroxidation, oxidative stress, and gene expression of the various enzymes also. They have found that the meat quality in the breast muscles was being little bit lower than the in carbon dioxide stunned broilers, and the expression of the genes in the MAPK, NRF2 or antioxidant pathways are partially being suppressed in the breast muscles by gas stunning at around 40% when the gaseous level is being used, 79% carbon dioxide concentration. However, the oxidative stress and the meat lipid peroxidation during storage were being aggravated by the carbon dioxide, and gaseous stunning with 40% carbon dioxide compared to the gaseous stunning with a 79% carbon dioxide, and no gas stunning with comparison to the no gas stunning. So there is a mixed responses are being getting up in the different scientific studies. However, still it is in a common defined fact is that the comparatively the gaseous stunning method is being better than the other one, and in this case the self life and others are being improved a lot. So, concluding my talk, that while selecting the stunning methods, no doubt you are being ensuring the humane slaughter, and there is you are being ensuring the cruelty against the animals. Bleeding is being improved. Quality and the shelf life of the meat is being improved because of the better bleeding and everything. However, the selection of the stunning method is a most important with respect to the which animal species and everything, and then the appropriate conditions, apparatus, method, process of the stunning. It's also being a very important. You may be you have selected the appropriate stunning method, but you are not incorporating the appropriate conditions. That's also not a desirable. You will not get any the desired results. So the stunning methods nowadays is being almost in widely practiced in almost all the slaughterhouses, especially the modern slaughterhouses. However, there is a still being confusion regarding the use of the stunning in case of the ritual slaughters and others is being there. So that's being a can be discussed anytime. Then thank you very much. If you want to study your about the stunning more, my book is being there, a better practices and animal byproducts technology. That's a textbook in which we have a chapter on the stunning. Separate chapter is being there. You can go through that one, so all the details can be taken care over there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Jande.
Sir, thanks much for covering all the aspects of the stunning of food animals before slaughter, and what are the different techniques may be used in the various animals like cattle, sheep, poultry, and you also covered the aspect of what quality effects will happen if that stunning is not done properly. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience in the field of meat science and also the technology uh, in stunning of meat. Now, I request Dr. Vivek Shukla to see what are the questions in the chat box from the participant and the questions from the participant directly.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have one question from one of the participant. He is asking whether there is an impact of stunning on organoleptic quality of meat. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, one question is there. Is there any impact of stunning on organoleptic quality of meat?
Like as I've already mentioned that the aging process is being faster, so the texture of the muscles is being better in case of that one. However, the if it is being properly being carried out, there is as with respect to the other aspects like the odor, flavor, and others, there is no effect is being there, and it's being the same as being there. Moreover, the bleeding is being better. In some of the people, those are being going for a full blood animals, in the bleeding is less. They usually say that the if the blood is being more, then the flavor and it is being better. But personally, as a scientifically, it is being proved that if the bleeding is being better, then the flavor and the odor is being better, rather than a animal with a full blood in comparison to the less blood is being less in the body. So I think the flavor and everything is being proper, as being same as per the. There is no effect on the stunning, on the flavors, odor, and everything.
Thank you,
If it is
sir.
being properly
One
being
more.
carried out without any the gas level, concentration of the gas and everything is being proper.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes, yes. Yes, absolutely right, sir. Whenever if you are doing this stunning unscientific way, or it is improper, means what are the guidelines which are given in particular stunning methods? If it is not done properly, then definitely, sir, animal will be struggle more during slaughter, and there will be no proper bleeding. So if the blood is retained in the body, definitely you find that carcass is more darker color. Okay, and the people, they will hesitate to purchase such kind of meat. So that was only the sensory. I think other aspects will not be differ more. Okay, as such. So color is only the main, just attracting the customer to purchase a meat, go for the meat. If it is not, that color is deviating from its own natural color, the people, they won't buy the meat. That is a tendency of the common consumers. Okay, because the parameters are the only parameters on which either it is literate or the illiterate people, they buy the meat. Okay, so the sensory parameters are very, very important as far as is the meat business is concerned. And being it is biological food, okay, so that studying definitely will have the bad effect once it is not used in proper way. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
One more question is that what are the different way of poultry birds if stunning is done by electrical, water bath stunning?
This is basically the how much current is being given. If it is high current is being passed, then naturally the mortality may occur. Or secondly, point of concern is that if the exposure time, the longer duration, if many of the places the speed of the rail is not being properly being managed, and the dip of the head of the poultry in the water bath is for a longer duration, that's also lead to the mortality. It takes place. And so until unless the electrical current, proper milliamperes and selection as per the, whether it is in a broiler, whether it is in a layer bird, whether it is in a turkey or others, it should be carried out in a proper manner. The mortality rate will be naturally will be lower. It will be stunned, and then accordingly
Thank you, sir.
it's
Thank you, sir. So any other question from the participant?
Okay, if there is no further questions.
Sir, I want to know regarding color values, sir, of LAB values.
yeah. As
Please mention your name. Hello. You just mention your name and the organization, or you are the student or the interpreter.
Samir, sir. Alana subscribed. Samir.
Samir, as there is a lot of studies has been carried out, and they have found that the color values, especially the LAB values and other, there's not much difference is being there between the stunned animals and others are being there up to at least 24 hours. Thereafter, because the aging process is being faster and others, then there may be little bit changes being there. And as Dr. Jende also mentioned and others, the bleeding is being better. So the comparatively the full blood as well as the where the blood level is being high, the meat color is being more reddish. Whereas in this case here, the bleeding is being better. So the comparatively the redness value is being lower in case of the stunned animals.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So I have a question. My name
Yes,
is
sir.
Arif. I'm from Pen Frozen Foods Private Limited. My question is, what are the sensory parameters apart from visual inspection we need to add?
Arif, you have asked a wonderful question. So it's a really being important in an industry. The sensory is always being talked about. So as the apart from the visual inspections, we can also go for the color. The means we can go for the objective evaluation of the color. Then we can also go for the odor, flavor. Then the texture. That's with the help of a shear force value. We can measure the texture of the muscles and others, so that the toughness or the tenderness can be measured. So these are the commonly methods being used for the evaluating the meat quality. And the pH always remains the foremost. If we are being checking out the pH, naturally that basically directs the quality of the meat.
Yes, sir. We are checking pH quality also.
Thank you, Arif.
Thank you, sir.
I think there is no question from audience now. So you can go to the next speaker.
Thank you, Dr.
Next
Jende.
speaker
Thank you
is-
very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
And
all the
thank
organizers.
you all sir, for accepting our
Thank you very much,
invitation
sir.
very
Thank
short period.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the next speaker, Dr. Amit Kumar Nandavdekar. Dr. Amit Kumar now presently is working with the Venki's at the Bangalore plant. He is our student. He has completed his master degree from our department and he joined after that Venki's and he's working there for I think 8 to 10 years. So he's Dr. Amit is really he is a very smart chap during his postgraduate degree and also the undergraduate degree program. Okay. So he has experience of working in Venkateswara Hatcheries Private Limited Food Division as an input manager, quality control and quality assurance food safety team leader for the FSMS also. During his tenure of Illinois, he was also food safety assessor for Confederation of the Indian Industries for Food Safety National Awards. He has also having the experience as a national level resource person, conducting special courses like a FOSTAC for the poultry meat products conducted continuously by the CII and so in collaboration with the FSSI. He has also successfully completed training on the Food Safety and the Standards Act rules and regulations in 2012. Successfully completed 5 days training on the food safety system certifications, that is FSSC 22000, and the lead auditor in September 2017. He has successfully completed legal metrology rules and consumer protection bill in 2018 in July 2018. He has successfully completed a 2 days training on the implementation of the internal auditing in hazard analysis and critical control point held at RSM Astute Consulting Institute, Andheri, Mumbai, 2nd to 3rd July 2011. So today, Dr. Amit Kumar, in place of the Dr. Bedis, he will be speaking on the topic, the regulatory aspects of the food processing in India, with a special reference to the poultry processing. So his experience of 11 years working in the poultry processing as a quality head. So out as a deputy manager of the quality assurance in the Venkateswara Hatcheries Food Division at Bangalore. So he will share the topic today. So I invite Dr. Amit Kumar to present the topic. So, Dr. Amit Kumar, please.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
PowerPoint presentation, it is visible, sir.
Visible, but put it in our slide mode, slideshow mode.
No?
Yes, yes, yes. No, go back. Go. Slideshow mode. Yeah.
Yes.
Click.
Okay, sir.
That one. Yeah. Now it is okay. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I sincerely thanks to organizing committee and faculty of Bombay Veterinary College, MAPSU, ICAR CAST for giving this opportunity to me. And as you told, I'm very happy to be here at my own college, where I nourished by you, Paturkar sir, Vaidya sir. So I'm very happy to be here at own college at a platform for the national e-training on advances in quality assurance and hygienic production of animal origin food. So last 5 days we are learning on animal origin quality foods. So day first, second, we have learned about animal welfare, antemortem, postmortem, inspection of lymph nodes and its importance into the food quality. Third, second, we have seen the milk hygiene from the farm to the consumer and different scientific methods of slaughter. And today is day fifth. And first session was very nice on the stunning and its impact on the quality of meat by Manish sir. And now I am going to speak on regulatory aspect of food processing in India with special reference to meat and poultry processing. So as informed by you, sir, the audience is from the UG, PG students, employees of the food processing, slaughterhouses, academics. This topic is very important and they should learn about this topic. So let us start with the topic. This topic I will cover into the 4 parts, sir. In part first, we'll see the various statutory and regulatory requirements to run the food business into the India. And then very important is Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, overview of the FSSAI. Before FSSAI come into the picture, what were the laws that we'll see in one slide. Part 2, I will cover the licensing and registration requirement. Who have to obtain the license, which are the application requirement. Then what are the conditions of the license? Once license is issued, what are the conditions of the license? In part 3rd and 4th, operational requirement. Operational requirement means schedule 4, how they have to follow, FSMS. So other any operational requirement we'll see into part 3rd, and part 4, product related requirements. Once product is manufactured, packed, in which angle it should be comply, like the microbial regulation is there, residue regulation is there, labeling requirements are there. So these requirements will cover into this 4 part. So we'll be touching most of the regulatory requirements for the meat and poultry processing, but we may not go into the depth of each and every requirement. So let us start with part 1 session, that is various statutory and regulatory requirements required for the food industry. So what on the screen, these are the various statutory approvals, licenses and certificates required to run the food business into the India. So first and foremost is FSSAI license or registration. This is issued by the FSSAI and the state food authorities. In license and registration, there are 3 things. In license, central license, state license. In registration, it is state registration. Whenever the central license comes, it will be issued by the FSSAI, and whenever the registrations and state license comes, it will be issued by the state food authorities. Details of this topic we will go through today. Coming to the second requirement, it is factory license. It is not only for the food industry, apart from food industry, any industry we want to start or you want to start into the India, the person or business operator should get the license from the department or director of the factories of respective states, union territory. The details of requirement of Factory Act are given into the Factories Act 1948, and these are the based on health, safety, and welfare. So health, safety, and welfare of not animal, it is health, safety, welfare of human beings or the workmen who are working into the factory. So generally, health aspect they will cover uh, what type of environment the people are working, how the ventilation it is provided, what are the air changes into the work environment. There should not be overcrowding into the workplace. Sufficient toilets, urinals are provided to the workmen. Potable drinking water given to the workmen. So this covers into the health aspect of the Factories Act. Coming to the safety, whenever plant is constructed, whether it is food or any other plant, the business operator should take care of about the fire safety. The plant should have the emergency exit, then emergency evacuation plans. Whenever the people are working into the hazardous area like the chemical room, then people should have the personal protective equipments like goggle, mask, overall gowning to prevent the uh, chemical injury, inhalation injury to the workmen. Coming to the welfare aspect of the Factory Act, the factory director will see the factory is provided with sufficient restrooms, canteen, crutches, working hour compensation have been paid properly, OT has been paid properly, PF and other benefits like the ESI, leave bonus, everything it will be seen at the welfare. So these all are indirectly related with the food safety. If the workmen are the happy, definitely they will do proper work. If the environment is not proper where they are working, definitely they will try to touch their head. If the suffocation is happening into the environment, they will try to their touch nose, all these things, and after that they will touch the food. So this factory license or this license is very important in indirect way for the food safety. Coming to the next requirement, pollution control board consent. Again, it is issued by the state or central pollution control department. In the food industry, to get the consent or get the approval from the pollution control board, the food business operator should manage, handle, and dispose all solid and liquid waste in environmental friendly manner. So what are the solid waste in poultry or meat processing? This feather, head, then viscera. So this should be taken to the rendering, processed at high temperature. Meat mill should be prepared. Air pollution should not be happened with that. Then ETP. So whatever the water used for the washing of the machineries or during processing, whatever the water used, it should be taken to the ETP. It should be treated. BOD, COD shall be checked as per the consent requirement. Then only it should be utilized for the gardening or any other purpose. So these are the again pollution control board requirement. Apart from that, processing plants will have the diesel generators, then boilers for the steam generation. So they have to look into the emission testing or stack monitoring. They have to see as per the respective state or union territory, and they can apply and get the license from the pollution control board. Coming to the next requirement is boiler certificate. This is again annual. Boiler inspection department will come. They will inspect the boiler for the intactness of tubes, pressure testing, and they will issue that this boiler is fit for the use for the next 1 year. Coming to the next requirement for the food processing, it is EIA and APEDA. It is optional when you want to do the business within the India. Only the requirement is FSSA. If you want to export the poultry meat, you have to go for the EIA approval, EIC approval. If you want to go for the small or large animal export, meat export, then Agriculture and Processed Food Export Development Authority, you should get approval from them. and they are having their guidelines. Coming to the next requirement, packing license. This is one-time license. Again, it is issued by the controller of legal metrology. If you are operating in a single state, your product is going into the single state, then you can get license from the state authority. If you are operating in more than one state, you should go for the central license. Your in general commodity should be mentioned into the license. If you are processing chicken, chicken meat and chicken meat product. If it is milk, milk and milk product, like that, general commodity should come on the onto the license. The same department, but the state department will do the stamping of weighing scale. So this is again annual activity. Whatever the weighing scale we are utilizing for the packing of the product, and which is product is going to the market or to the industries, should be weighed on the weighing scale, which is stamped by the legal metrology department. So this is one type of calibration they are doing annually. Apart from that, if you are maintaining internal calibration, it is well and good. Coming to the next requirement, it is groundwater approval. Definitely processing plant means lot of water is required. If the water is drawn from river or lake, there is no requirement of this. But if you are drawing the water from the ground with bore well, tube well or well, then you should take approval from the Central Groundwater Authority. And it is mandatory requirement for FSSAI. If you are drawing, you have to take approval and you have to upload into the while taking the license of FSSAI. Again, NOC, this is very important on requirement of FSSAI also. Whenever you are starting construction of factory, before starting only, you should go to the Gram Panchayat. Your factory is located at Gram Panchayat level, then you go to Gram Panchayat. If it is Taluka Panchayat, you go to Taluka Panchayat or Municipal Corporation and get the NOC before starting of the construction only. It is again, you have to upload to the FSSAI while getting the FSSAI license. Apart from this, halal, kosher, these are the again factory specific. You can obtain or you may not obtain the license. So these are the different statutory and regulatory requirements needed to start industry into the India, including food processing. But the first requirement, so FSSAI, this is mandatory body to regulate the operations of the food processing into the India, and we should follow the FSSAI rules and regulations. So today we'll look into the FSSAI. So Food Safety and Standard Act, it came into the picture in 2006. But prior to 2006, there were 8 food laws. First, it is Prevention of Food Adulteration, 1954. This was a main law, and other 7 laws were there. They were working in conjunction with PFA. So for the fruit processing, it is Food Product Order 1955. For the poultry and meat processing, Meat Food Product Order 1973. For vegetable oil, this. For edible oil packaging regulation, this. Like this. For milk processing, this order is 1992. Apart from this commodities, any other commodities or essential commodities of food, it is come under Act 1955. So there were 8 laws. So these multiple laws and regulation, it was creating confusion for implementation of food laws into the different sector. So in 2006, this FSSAI came to consolidate all these laws. The intention or intention of the forming the Food Safety and Standard Act, it is to establish a single reference point for the all matters related to the food safety and standards by moving this multi-department, multi-level system to single line of control. So with this effect, what happened? Food Safety and Standard Act formed independent regulatory body under the Ministry of Health, Family Welfare, Government of India. The body is called as Food Safety Standard Authority of India. So this is URL. If you click here, this window, it will come. This window, if you see, it is one nation, one food law. All notification related to the all food commodities, it will come here. If you click here, you will get the all draft gazette notification or notification for comments. You can give the comments on that. Then regulation. There are different 26 regulations are there in FSSA. If you click here, their regulation and their amendments you will get here. So act and rule, it will be here. Advisory, day to day some notifications will come into the FSSA. You will find in advisory and order. So this is home page of the FSSAI. So Food Safety and Standard Authority of India and the state food laboratories or state food authorities enforces various provisions of this act for laying down the standards of articles of food to regulate manufacturing, storage, distribution, sale, and as well as import. So FSSAI also now looking into the import, and if you are exporting apart from the EIA, you have to endorse your license as an export into the FSSAI. Now FSSAI came into the import and exports also. So who have to see this regulations advisory order? So the food business operator or the responsible persons from the food business operator. So we should know about the food business operator. So as per the Food Safety and Standard Act, food business operator is a person who want to run the business or who is owning the business, and he is responsible for maintaining standard mandatory sanitary and hygienic requirements of FSS. So what are the mandatory sanitary and hygienic requirements? These are the Schedule 4 requirements. So for any person can start the food business operation, but he have to follow this Schedule 4 requirements. Apart from this, nobody should run the business without license. Means you want to start the slaughterhouse, you have to get the license or registration from the FSSI with KOB endorsed as slaughterhouse. KOB means kind of business. There are different type of KOBs. For slaughterhouse, they will give slaughterhouse. For meat processing, they will give meat processing. For standard product, there are so many drop downs are there. You can select standard product like fresh, frozen, communicated products, marinated products. You can anything you can endorse. But without license, you should not start the business. Then once you start business, you have to go day to day on the website. What I shown here on this website, you have to go. You have to see the advisory orders, and you have to follow that all advisory on orders. And one more important thing, if it is high risk area or high risk processing like meat, milk processing, then it is compulsory to display the sector specific food safety reports. Means when you are entering into the meat processing plant or poultry processing plant, hand washing techniques, how to hand wash, then when to wash hands, then what are the personal hygienes to be followed inside the processing hall, what are the temperature of the chillers, cold stores, what are the CCPs. You should display it at local language at processing hall. Apart from that, very prime responsibility of the FBOs to satisfy the requirements made under the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006 to Rules and Regulation 2011 at the all stages of production and processing. So this is foremost responsibility. Apart from that, there are several responsibilities of the food business operator. Out of that, nobody should carry out the business without a valid license or registration. Nobody should manufacture unsafe food, misbranded food, or a substantial food which contain the foreign material. Then nobody should manufacture the food which is prohibited by food authority at any time. Apart from that, if food any food it is in contradiction or contravention with any acts or any rules of the FSS regulation, then nobody should manufacture that food. The next responsibility is very important. Food business operator should not employ any person which is having the any kind of infectious disease. Nobody should employ the person having the infectious disease, or by the disease the food is contaminating, like the tuberculosis, the person affected with typhoid, or any person having the skin injury or skin cut, and which will come into the contact with food, and food may be contaminated. Such person should not be employed into the processing. At the end, once food is manufactured while selling, FBO should give in return guarantee statement into the invoice or bill or cash memo. So if you see the form E into the FSS Act, so that guarantee statement is given, that should be printed on your invoice, cash memo or bill before dispatching the product from the plants. So this is about the FSSA overview on what are the conditions by the FBO, conditions to be followed by the FBO. Coming to the part second, this is actual licensing and registration of food business. Here we'll see the what are the application requirement for the licensing and registration. What is the current system utilized for the issuing of the license and registration? What are the eligible criteria, whether it is applicable, we are applicable for registration state license or central license. In case of poultry and meat, we'll see. For other also, I will show how to search. What are the condition of license after getting the license? So again, this is old portal of FSSA. So it is food licensing and regulation system. So previously, before 2020, FSSA was issuing the license and registration through this portal. Now they have changed to new portal. It is FOSCOS. It is Food Safety and Compliance System. Food Safety Compliance System. So it is not called only licensing and registration, but it is called as compliance system, because whatever the condition of license, whatever they given testing or training of the food safety supervisor, you have to upload into the system once license is issued. So it is compliance system rather than the only licensing and registration system. This is URL for the opening of this FOSCOS. You can see, you can apply here license, track your application. Here, very important, I will see show in next slide. If you want to see whether your product is in standard or not standard category, then you can click here. Eligibility criteria. If you put here milk or meat, your eligibility criteria it will come. Coming to the next slide, once you apply for the license, as I told, it is food safety compliance system. This window it will come: incomplete application, submitted application, reverted application, and issued licenses or registrations here. So once you apply, everything it will come. Any authority is reverting application, it will come here. You have to give answer to that. If authority is satisfied, they will issue the license. But after licensing, renewal also it is there in this portal. If you want to modify something, some modification, some addition of products or change of address, all these things you can do through this modification tab. If you want to surrender the license, if you want to stop the business and you want to surrender, you have to surrender license through this tab. Any consumer is having grievance on your product, they can go to the food consumer portal and they can lodge a complaint, and you can view into this consumer grievance. Previously in licensing system, all these things it was not there. This annual return, previously before 2020, manual hard copy of annual return we used to submit to the regional office. Now you have to submit through online. The inspection, any food authority coming for the inspection of factory, then they will upload their report into this. If you are endorsed for the export KOB, you have to quarterly returns should be filled into this portal. Then audit management, again FSSI started with a annual audit of the high risk food by third party. They will upload report here, and like that hygienic management. So this is compliance system. So as I told, if you put meat here, what are the standard categories for the food categories, sub food categories, products, and description of product, it will come. Coming to the eligibility criteria. So for the processor, this question will be there, whether I have to apply for the registration state license or central license. So if you are slaughtering or planning to slaughter less than 2 large animals, you are eligible for registration. 3 to 50 large animals means you have to obtain state license. If it is central license in case of large animals, if you are slaughtering more than 50, you are eligible for the central license. Like that, small animals up to 10 registration, 11 to 150 central state, sorry, and more than 150 central. For the poultry, if you are slaughtering 50 poultry or less than that, you can obtain only registration. 51 to 1000, you can go for the state license. More than 1000, you are slaughtering in a day, then you have to go for the central licensing. This is for the slaughterhouse. If you are doing meat processing, if your turnover, annual turnover is less than 12 lakh, you are eligible for the registration. If it is up to 500 kg state license, and if you are processing 500 kg and above meat in a day, then you are eligible for the central license. So for checking the eligibility criteria, again URL is there, and at the end of the URL, this all what are the applicable documents, what are the documents required for the new license, new registration. It is one click solution. So what are the basic documents required for the application? We'll go through now. So these are the 12-13 documents required to obtain the FSSAI license and registration. So first is a layout plan with dimension. When we are applying for the licensing or registration, you have to a layout plan where you are stating your process hall, chillers or storage areas, raw material, finished goods, packing material. You have to specify, and that layout plan you should upload along with unit photographs, entrance, borders, personal hygiene equipments what you are having, then process halls, machineries what you are having. That photos you have to upload. You have to keep in mind that no file should not be more than 3 MB. Then next is name and list of machineries. What are the machineries on the product is moving? That all machineries you have to submit with their number and installed capacity. Water test report. If the water is coming in contact with food or the meat, then it should be tested. It should be tested with potable water standard, that is IS 10500, and the water sample shall be collected by the laboratory persons. You cannot collect and you can send lab sample to the lab. Next is proof of possession. Your rent agreement or your agreement of land or electricity bill of the premises can be considered as a proof of possession for the licensing. Then you should have the food safety management plan. Let it be a HACCP, FSSC, ISO, or any GFSI certification. You should have at least one. If at initial stages, if you don't have the FSSC or ISO system, you can give the self declaration, and after some time you can upload the your FSMS certificate. Recall plan is very mandatory. You should go through the recall regulation and guideline of FSSA, and as per your convenience, you have to make the recall plan and submit to the authority, so that in any case of food safety issue, you have to recall product, how you will recall and how you will dispose that product. So that should be given into that recall plan, and that recall plan it should be uploaded. Then who is the authorized signatory or responsible person for them? Their photo ID, Aadhaar card, PAN card, or any government issued ID card shall be uploaded along with the nomination of persons by the company. Declaration form, it is a simple declaration. We will follow the all FSS rules, regulation, act, all these things. Downside, you have to sign and you have to upload into the portal. As we discussed, NOC from municipality, local body, then consent from the pollution control department, NOC from the CGWA, Central Groundwater Authority. This is compulsory. This is total for the slaughter, but if in addition you are having the value added manufacturing section, then you should submit the source of raw material also to the FSSA. So these are the major documents required for the application for the licensing and registration of Food Safety Standard Authority of India. After that, food safety officer will review your application requirement, and any queries he will put into the FASTCOS portal. You have to revert. If required, he will come for the inspection or he will issue the license. Once license is issued, these 13 conditions of license, it will come along with license only, and you have to follow that. The first important thing, you have to display a copy of license or registration at prominent places into the premises. Let it be on main gate, conference room, but you have to display that. And whenever the food safety officer or authority comes to your plant, you should not deny them. You have to allow them for the inspection assessment. Second is, any change into the system, you have to inform to authority. If you are modifying any product, you are changing any process, or you are adding some machines, so if immediately you have to inform to authority that this change we are doing into our system. Next requirement, it is again follow the sanitary and hygienic requirements. So these sanitary and hygienic requirements means Schedule 4 requirements. Whatever the applicable schedule, we have to follow into the premises. Then sector specific food safety boards that I have discussed. Food and water samples shall be tested regularly. As per FSS, every 6 months, each category of food shall be tested for the micro residue or physical, chemical, and microbial analysis, as well as the water which is coming into the contact with food shall be tested with IS 10500 standards, and same shall be uploaded every 6 months also. Then at least one person, FASTAG trained person, I can say here not one person, it is depends on the how many food handlers are there in factory. If you are having 100 food handlers, you should have the 4 food safety trained person into your plant. So every 25 food handlers, at least one food safety trained person, it is required into the production process. And this detail also you have to upload during your annual report filing. Coming to the next requirement or condition, no product other than product indicated into the license. If you got license for the fresh and frozen product and you are manufacturing something marinated meat product, it is not allowed. You have to endorse this particular category into your license, and then you can start the manufacturing. Next requirement is ensure that the source and standard of raw material used are of optimum quality. First and most important, you have to procure raw material from the FSSA, who is having the FSSA license or registration. From such vendors only you should get the your raw material. And apart from that, once it is received at your end, you can have the quality checks, at least physical or some chemical parameters, or if required, microbial also. Then maintenance of the record. So whatever the production and sale records you are making, that records are mandatorily kept up to end of the shelf life of the product. So in case of the recalls, these records are very important. Next is temperature. Again, temperature is heart of milk and meat processing. Everything should be less than 4 degrees centigrade, or during processing, everything should be less than 7 degrees centigrade. Chillers and cold store 4 degree, -18 or less temperature. So that everything, it should be maintained as per requirement. Next is manufacturing, importer, distributor shall buy, sell product to the license. So as you are purchasing the raw material from the license or registered vendor, you have to sell to the customers who are having the FSSAI license and registration. So this is talking about the wholesaler and retailers. Next is annual return for the financial year. For the 1st April to 31st March, you have to submit annual return into the FASTCOS portal. If you are having the KOB endorsed as a exporter, then every quarterly report should be filed onto the FASTCOS. Then very important, food handler annual medical health examination. This is also very important into the FSSAI. So these are the conditions of the license. So we'll come to the part 3, where the operational requirements, there are 7 operational requirements, Schedule 4 requirements, then food safety management system, FOSTAC, medical health examination, annual return, food safety auditing, and disposal of used cooking oil. Let us start with first slide. So once you get the license or registration, you have to go through this Schedule 4 of the FSSA. So there are total 6 parts. Part first is, it is for the person who is obtaining the registration or whose turnover is less than 12 lakh in a year in case of meat processing. So they may not have the very difficult schedule, but it is do and don't kind of thing. What should be done, what should be not done into the roadside cutting shops or the milk sellers who are doing small shops. What they have to do or not to do. Only small things are here. Part 2, it is for the licensed people. So all licensed people, they have to follow the part 2. This is general hygienic and sanitary requirement to be followed by the licensed people. Part 3, this is general and this is specific. It is applicable to the milk and milk product. Along with part 2, milk and milk processing unit, they should follow the part 3. If coming to the poultry and meat, along with part 2, they have to maintain part 4. So these are the compulsory. For the catering sector, part 5 is there. Part 6 is not visible here. It is special requirement for the high risk food. So these schedule are there. We cannot go in depth because it is full day topic. Each part is having the at least 8 hours training, and this it is available into the fast track training. For each part, there is separate course into the fast track. So these are the covered into the Schedule 4 requirement, location surrounding the factory, location surrounding premises, layout requirements, equipment, all this covered into the Schedule 4. Next requirement is food safety management system. So as per the Act 2006, food safety management system means adoption of good hygienic practices, good manufacturing practices, and any food safety management system. So let it be HACCP, let it be ISO 22000 2018, let it be FSSC 22000 or BRC. So 1, 2, 3, you do all these things. For FSSA, it is sufficient. They will consider it as food safety management system. Coming to the next process requirement, training of the people, FOSTAC training. So each processor should have one person for every 25 food handlers. And this FOSTAC, food safety training and certification, it is divided into 3 courses. One is basic course, which is applicable for the registration kind of business, advanced course for general manufacturing, and special course for the milk products, meat and poultry, fish, packaged drinking water, oil, and bakery. For these 6 commodities, special courses are available. Special courses are of 8 to 12 hours. Now, along with that, COVID also they are training for the 1-2 hours. Apart from that, advanced it is courses available for the general manufacturing, storage, transportation, and retail distribution. And the basic courses are available for the street food vending. These courses are of 4 hours. So each food business or operator should have at least one trained person for every 25 people and multiples. So this is again a link for the FOSTAC. If you click here, this window, it will come. So if you want to get trained with any course, you have to click here. You have to find out the training partner nearby. You can contact them. They will arrange training for you. Trainer also they will arrange. So you have to ask them a poultry course when it is there, or milk and milk course, milk product course when it is there. They will arrange training. So these are the total training conducted. In India, how many food safety supervisors are there in all sectors? COVID-19 trainings. So this portal is also there for that. Coming to the food handler medical health examination, before the employing or before any employees handle the food, it shall be checked by the medical practitioner or civil surgeon. For that, he should be free from the any infectious or communicable disease. So he can do physical examination, eye test, skin examination, all these things, and The processor should assure that the person should be inoculated against a entry group of diseases, vaccines like cholera, typhoid. This should be vaccinated before start of food handling. Coming to the annual returns, all licensed premises or manufacturing kind of premises, they should file annual returns of every financial year, 1st April to the 31st March, within next 60 or 90 days. So in that annual return, what details they are asking, we can go through. Number of food handlers into the factory, you have to fill manually. Then post-tag trained food safety supervisors. Once you enter the 20 post-tag trained people are there, you have to enter individual post-tag training certificate number into the while filing the annual returns. Then any inspection conducted into the last year or audit conducted, that details you have to enter. Any recall happen or any change into the layout or process happen, that also we have to give details into the while filing the annual return. Any consumer grievance and its resolution, that also we have to specify into the annual return. What are the production as per the KOB? If you are having slaughter KOB, how many animals are slaughtered into the year? How many kgs of meat is produced? All these things you have to enter here. What are the raw material vendors? All their FSSAI license number you have to put into the system. Water test report, as I told, biannually water test report and to the product test report shall be submitted or uploaded into the FOSCOS portal. And if you are having internal lab, the details of the internal lab also need to be entered into the system. So this annual return in April, May, June, 3 months you have to complete for the last year. So next regulation, it is food safety auditing regulation. So this came into 2018, and the aim of this, it is to strengthen the food safety surveillance system into the high risk food. So FSSAI has initiated the food safety auditing of food business operator through private auditing agencies or third parties who is doing certifications or who is in laboratory business. They have given authority to them, and we should select the third party agencies to audit our plant and get it audited. The report will be displayed into the FOSCOS again. This is currently applicable for the high risk food of state and central license. So audit criteria are scheduled for the definitely for meat, if it is there, part 2 and part 4 are applicable. If it is milk, part 2 and part 3 are applicable. Sector specific any checklist is there, then it should be followed, and whatever the basic food safety measures HACCP. So auditor will see in these 3 aspect, and he will complete the audit. If it is report is compliant, you will get 100% score. He will upload your report into the FOSCOS portal. But if any major and minor NCs are there, minor NCs within 15 days you have to close and give the corrective action. For the major, within 24 hours you have to take action, as it may create a food safety issues into the processing, and submit to the auditor to close the issue, and then he will upload the report onto the portal. Again, this audit frequency, it is depends on your score. If your plant is scoring more than 81%, then audit will be annual. If it is 51 to 80%, then every 9 months you have to repeat your audit. And if less than 50, it is below average, every 6 months you have to get your plant is audited from the third party. In process requirement, this is again came recently in 2-3 years back. Whenever the fried products are there, due to repeated frying or repeated cooking of this oil, it will increase the toxicity of the compound, leading to the several diseases like hypertension, atherosclerosis, Alzheimer disease. To avoid repeated use of cooking oil, FSSAI fixed a total polar compound. Once oil total polar compound increased to the 25, or it is reaching to the 25, you have to discard the oil. This discard should not be happen into the drainage or sewage system. It should be discarded to the approved aggregator or collector. So this aggregator, what they will do, they will collect this UCO and they will convert to the biodiesel. So once it is reaches to 25, you have to submit to the UCO. You should make agreement with the ACO aggregator, and you give this oil having the TPC 25 or more to them. They will convert it to the biodiesel. So this taken as to preserve our environment and health also. So these are the operational requirement. Coming to the part 4, these are the product specific requirements. So in that 5 requirements it is stated. First requirement is food product standard and food additive regulation. Then in Indian Food Code, that is Annex A. Microbial requirements. Again, this microbial requirements to be covered by the Bilegavkar sir. In short, we'll take. Then chemical testing requirements. In that antibiotic and other pharmacological active substances, pesticide residues, and heavy metals and naturally occurring toxins. So testing of this, and last, once before packing of product, labeling requirement, you should comply with the labeling requirement. We'll see one. Previously, this many standard foods were not there. Recently, 2018-19, for the meat and meat product vertical standard schemes. So if you in food product standard and food additive regulation, if you search 2.5.2, it is given for the meat and meat product. 2.5.3, it is egg and egg product. 2.6, fish and fish product. Before this, 2.4.1 might be agriculture, some commodities. So this 1 to 15, subclause 1 to 15, these are the different standardized food under the FSSAI. So canned meat, comminuted, restructured meat. So like this, all from here, 6 to 11, it is fresh, chilled, frozen. It is rabbit, pig, beef, goat, sheep, poultry meat. 12, 13, sorry, here 13. 12, marinated meat product. 13, fermented meat product. And 15, animal casings. 14 animal casings. So it is numbering mistake here, sorry. In egg product, they have divided into the again 5 subcategories: fresh to pickled egg. So each category is having, they have given description of each category. So what process should be involved, what is the finished good chemical composition. So you have to find out where your product is lying, and you have to define your product accordingly. So if your product is not falling into this product is called as proprietary food. So proprietary food means article of food that does not been standardized. So these are the standardized. The product is not standardized here, then it will come to the standardized. But the responsibility of proprietary food, it is belongs to the food business operator. And apart from that, they have not given full hand to the FBO, but they have made a condition. If you are having the proprietary food, you should find out what are the additive permitted as per Appendix A. You have to check what are the microbial requirement as per Appendix B, and comply with any other provision of FSS Act and regulations. And you have to label also, it is proprietary food. Like that you have to make, and then only you can get the proprietary food endorsed into your license. Without that, you should not manufacture this kind of food. Again, this is Indian Food Code. Category 8 is for the meat and poultry. 8.1 is meat and poultry, which is without any additive. 8.11, it is in whole pieces and cuts. 8.12, it is comminuted. 8.2, it is processed meat and poultry products in whole pieces and cuts. In that, again, 2 non-heat treated. 8.2.1 heat treated if it is the 8.2.2. If it is frozen processed, 8.2.3. Same, it is applicable for the comminuted product also. If it is non-heat treated, is heat treated 8.32, and for the frozen processed comminuted is 8.3.3. And for the edible casing, the code is there 8.4. Coming to the next microbial requirement. In Annexure B, these details requirements has been given. Might be Bilegavkar sir will give the details of this chapter, but I will, these all 9 categories of the products are there. And in process hygiene, APC, yeast mold, E. coli, Staphylococcus, these are the 4 microorganisms are applicable in process hygiene criteria. The testing methods are given here. Standards are given here. Sampling plans and standards are given here. In same food safety criteria are Salmonella, Listeria monocytogen, sulfite reducing Clostridia, Clostridium botulinum, and Campylobacter. So these are the category which are the applicable parameters you have to see, you have to follow. This Salmonella, in case of poultry, they are not calling as Salmonella species, but it is Salmonella enterica, Serovars typhi, Typhimurium, and Enteritis. You have to see only for that, because other poultry Salmonellas will be there, which is not pathogenic to human. Coming to the next product requirement is chemical testing. So we can call as a residue testing. So these 20 veterinary drugs are banned in rearing of the animals, including poultry. So you should not use this 20 at the any stage of rearing of the animals and birds, but you should test. So to demonstrate your compliance, you have not used into your system. You have to test biannually these 20 parameters from your chicken meat or whatever the specified tissues into the regulation, and you have to show the compliance. Apart from this antibiotic, these are the permitted antibiotics for the poultry. So this also you have to test whenever you are using. Generally, we should not use antibiotic while rearing, but definitely animal welfare. If animals or birds are sick, we have to utilize the antibiotics, but we have to follow the specific withdrawal period. Approved antibiotic we have to use, follow the specific withdrawal period. After that only the bird should be go to the processing plant or into the market for the slaughter. So this you can use, but you have to see the MRLs at the regulations. These are the pesticides. So pesticides, it will come from the agriculture commodities when they are manufacturing feed, or through water also it will come. So each and every product in biannual basis, you should test for these pesticides and demonstrate the compliance with the MRL. Again, heavy metal, copper, arsenic, tin, lead, cadmium, mercury, methyl mercury, that also should be tested, because it is through water, it may comes into the food. Apart from this, NOTs, like total aflatoxins, aflatoxin B1, safrole, and melamine also should be tested into the NABL accredited. Whatever the testing shall be done into the NABL or FSSI approved lab. That approved list of lab, it is available on the FSSI website. Coming to the last requirement, it is labeling requirement of the product. Up to last year, there was packaging and labeling regulation 2011, but recently that regulation is amended, and this law, it will come effect from the might be 1st June or 1st July. So every pre-packaged food shall have this labeling things. So name of the food and name of the standard food. If you are name of the food means you can give the trade name, like if you are manufacturing chicken boneless leg, you can give chicken boneless leg, but below to that whether it is chilled and frozen. So standard category is name, it is chilled meat or frozen meat. So you have to mention that chilled or frozen one. If it is proprietary food, so you should mention the food category. Then apart from that, if the product is value added or a mixture of more than one ingredients, then list of ingredient is compulsory into the descending order of total quantity into the recipe. In that ingredients only, you should declare your additive. You can declare the name of additive, or you can give the INS number for the additive. Coming to the nutrition information, previously only 5-6 parameters were there. Now this they have increased the parameter. They have added cholesterol and sodium, along with that, you have to give the percentage RDA to fulfilled from the each serving of the product into the packing label. Coming to the veg non-veg logo, definitely for the animal origin, you have to give the non-veg logo. Previously, this logo was having the circle in center. Now it become triangular, brown color square in brown color triangle. The dimension of this also it is specified into the regulations. And whatever I am telling this all requirement, height of the letters and height of the numbers, whenever you are declaring, you have to see the regulation. You have to check your principal display panel, and according to that, you have to label it. Then it is must you have to name and address of a manufacturer. If you are manufacturing, manufacturer. If you are manufacturing and sending to somewhere and where it is repacking, it is happening, that address also it is very important to be mentioned onto the label. FSSAI license or registration number of this manufacturing unit. Coming to the net quantity, retail sale price, and consumer complaints, these three requirements are not governed by the FSSAI, but it is governed by the legal metrology packaged commodity rule. So you have to follow the LMPCR for these three requirements and their height or declaration pattern. Then batch number, it is very important, lot code batch number for the recall of the product or whenever there is issue into the market. So this batch number, it will give the traceability of the product. Date of manufacture, on the day which product is manufactured or packed, you should give in the double Y, 4 times Y or 2 times Y format. Then previously best before also allowed by the regulation, but now it is compulsory expiry date, use by date. You can give best before, it is optional for you. If it is food is imported, then country of origin should be given. And if it is significant, important to while making a product, some instruction you have to give to assure the safety of food, you should give the instruction for use. So these are the labeling requirements. Detail also we can, anybody is having questions, then we can answer about this topic. So here I want to close my topic. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Amit Kumar. Very excellent presentation, and in detail you have to explain in simple language that very simple way all the aspects you have covered, including the all regulatory aspects of food processing and including the poultry processing. Thank you very much for your time, valuable time, because your presentation was on 24th, but I have requested you and you have accepted our invitation in a very short time. So thank you very much. Now,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure.
questions,
Sir. It's my pleasure.
questions. Thank
Thank you,
you
sir.
so much.
Sir, one question is there. One of the participants is asking that in some of the products there are 2 FSSAI licenses. So what is its significance?
The processor is having 2 FSSAI license
Yes, sir. He's
for the
asking that
same
some of
premises.
sir, he's asking question that in some products there are 2 FSSAI license number. What is the significance? What is the significance?
No,
Or
as per
what does it
FSSAI, if
signify?
both the product are manufactured into the one facility, they should have the only one license, and both the product they can endorse into the same license. So they are having in a same premises 10 number of product, but license should be one. There are 2 licenses for the same premises. It is not allowed.
Amit, can I interrupt you?
Yes, please, sir.
Actually, they might be asking that some of the packets they are having 2 license number on packet. Some of the product he is saying that means
Okay,
the
okay.
packet of the product is having 2 license number. So you can explain about that, why that 2 license
Yes.
number are there.
Yes. What will happen? Example I will give. Some of the milk processing. So you can consider the Amul. they will have the plenty of the manufacturing units, 10 manufacturing units or 2 manufacturing units. So definitely for each manufacturing site, they have to mention the FSSI number on the label. But provided that somewhere you have to mention this product is manufactured into the particular manufacturing unit. So generally what they will do in particularly batch number, they will write if it is produced at Bangalore, they will write B, and they will see refer the below addresses manufacturing unit. So they can give the 2 or 3 licenses also. There is no issue.
Question is there.
It is okay, or question is something different
where,
again.
We can find the acceptable micro.
Yeah,
like
your
FSSAI,
voice is interrupting, sir.
acceptable, but we can. Hello.
No, your voice is interrupting. I am not getting you, sir.
Sir, question is that one of the participant he is asking that where we can find acceptable microbial limit for the food contact surfaces.
Yeah, in
Like for
FSSI it is not given.
plates, knives, etc.
Yeah, it is FSSI. It is not given. There are 2 ways to comply the product compliance requirement. You have to validate your system. What should be the microbial load acceptable at your the contact surfaces like the belt, knife. You have to standardize yourself. Otherwise, some other regulation like this, if you are go through EIA, some references are given into the EIA also. But to achieve the microbial load, it is specified into the FSSAI for the product. What load you can accept into the your food contact, you have to validate yourself and you have to find yourself standardize.
Thank you, sir.
Amit sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Amit sir, good afternoon. My name is Arif. I'm from Pen Frozen Foods Private Limited. I have
Yes,
2
good afternoon.
questions. Since our company is doing the business in India itself, so as per FSSAI, what are the annual frequency of external lab testing for Listeria and Clostridium? This is first question. Second question is, for environmental monitoring, what are the parameters approved as per FSSAI? Thank you.
Okay. You are asking about Listeria and Clostridium, no, sir?
Yes, sir.
You have to categorize or you have to classify your product, whether Listeria and Clostridia it is applicable to your product or not. You have to see, because if it is
So
fresh,
we are into poultry.
no. If it is cooked meat, might be it is applicable. If it is fresh and frozen meat, it is not applicable.
Yes, we are into fresh and chilled meat, frozen and chilled meat.
So for the, if you see the annexure B of the micro requirement, the 4 this TPC, E. coli, yeast mold, Staph aureus and Salmonella, it is applicable for the fresh and frozen. It is not applicable for the this Listeria and Campylobacter or Clostridium. It is not applicable. Hello.
Okay, sir. So there is no need for any external lab testing reports for Listeria and Clostridium.
Yes, as good as you are manufacturing fresh and frozen. If you are manufacturing some cooked atom or any other atom which is required this testing, then you have to go for the every 6 month testing of each and every product.
Okay. So we are totally into chilled meat and frozen.
Yes, not required.
Okay. And second is about environmental monitoring parameters.
In FSSAI, it is not given. But if you go to the ISO or FSSC 22000, you have to see the generally the indicator organisms like the TPC, E. coli, Staph, and for the pathogen Listeria and Salmonella, you can test from the environment.
Okay, sir.
Any specific
Thank you, sir.
question from the participants? one or two questions we will take, or
Question here, sir. What
yes,
are the
please.
water requirement regarding that? What guidelines we have to follow, sir? Whether EEC or FAO bulletin in processing poultry carcass.
Pardon, I have not understood the question.
Sir, the processing
Sir,
of
actually
poultry.
he's asking. Hello. You can ask, sir. You can ask. You can repeat your question.
Sir, for processing of poultry carcass,
Yes, please repeat. Amit sir, he is asking that which guideline we have to follow for processing of poultry, whether EEC guideline or FAO guideline for the water requirement.
For processing of the poultry carcass.
Yes, sir.
If in manufacturing and selling into the India, they have to follow the FSSAI only.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question is there. Is there any special requirement or a specific license for the food?
For export?
For export and manufacturing.
Yeah. You have to get the FSSAI license endorsed with export manufacturing, as well as you have to get the EIC approval from the Export Inspection Council of India. And their regional offices are there in 5 to 7 places. You can approach them and you can get the approval from the EIC. For marine. MPED also it is there. Some interruptions are there. I am not getting.
Thank you, Dr. Amit Kumar, for one wonderful and very informative presentation. I think there are no questions now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
For your thank you for your valuable time. So we'll stop here. Thank you all the participants for the today's session.
Thank you, sir. So after that, to join tomorrow at 10:50 a.m. We will be having two lectures tomorrow, starting from 10:50 a.m. So all of you are requested to join tomorrow. Thank you.